Alright guys, welcome back to Old 88 Fishing. We're back talking about the Terrova and some of the repairs there. And I want to help show you guys that you don't have to throw it away. You can take a chance on that Facebook Marketplace listing and potentially save yourself a lot of money in doing some of the work on this stuff on your own. So stick with us. We're going to tear into this thing. We're going to go through replacing that rear controller cover. Alright, so when we talk about replacing this rear control cover, we need to get the side plates off, and that's done with 4 bolts. There's one here and one here. It's the same on the other side. Get those out, split those 2 side pieces off. I would recommend deploying the unit first so that it's in an upright position so that these come off nice and clean. And then once those covers are off, we'll have access to prying off the old controller cover, and then we'll get into reattaching all of the lights and buttons underneath this that will come out from the old cover itself. So let's get into tearing this thing apart. And these are Phillips head screws. You should be able to do this whole job with one multi-bit screwdriver, no problem. Now the cover that's on this side does have the power cable and everything going through it. You can just slide this away on the power cable and you won't have to worry about it. I'll actually be ordering a new cover for this side and changing that out because there's a piece that's broken over here. Doesn't stay on, but that's not going to affect this repair at all. Alright, it's important to remember when we go to start taking this cover apart that we want to make sure that our power for the unit has been disconnected, because there's a lot of electricity behind this thing. I mean, it is 12 volts, but they have you protect it with a 60 amp circuit. So definitely not something you want to screw around with. Make sure you're safe. Unplug the equipment before you start tearing into where the electrics are. And then this cover should just slide out. There's a tab on this side and there's a tab on this side. If you have questions about how that orientation is, you can take a look at the old unit and just slide it apart. All right, and there's some things in here that we got to disconnect so that we can get to everything that we need to do. We're going to be taking these lights and moving them. We're going to be taking this set of lights here, moving it to the new cover and changing everything over, and it's just an even swap. Let's start taking some of these pieces off so that we have access to what we need to do down here. I'm only going to be disconnecting parts that are attached to this cover, and then we'll swap things around. So the black wire is going to come off here. And the red wire comes off. Now, if you've got an OEM unit, this stuff may all be heat shrink together and you may have to cut the heat shrink off. I replaced this board in here, which is why I did not have heat shrink on these pieces, because I didn't put them on. Once all that's disconnected, you've got a connector here that needs to be undone so that you can slide that accessory port out. All right, and just keep track of where all your screws and stuff fall. and then that comes out underneath. And now we've got to disconnect our lights, and then this assembly needs to come out. I don't want to break that connector, but I don't really care about this case all that much. There's a tab on the back too, of course. Oh, some of our local heroes coming through. Alright, so I was wrong. You're going to need a set of pliers. There's 2 tabs on the back of this that need to be depressed, and 1 in the front. And once they're all pushed down, it should slide out. And we're going to find out how wrong I am on that. There we go. And then it should just work itself out. And then we've got our cover off. Now we need this little electronics board that's got some lights on it. That's your battery meter. And it's just a press fit from how it looks going in there. So we're gonna move the tabs out of the way and lift it right out. And now the old cover is done, and everything should slide right back into the new cover. So just do everything in the reverse order and put it back. You want to make sure everything lines up, so you get that electronics board placed underneath so that the lights line up and the button lines up. And take your time with this, guys. You don't need to force anything in there. You want everything to fit nice and snug, but appropriately. And you'll hear it click in when it gets into place. The reason I'm replacing it is because this test button broke off and fell in. Now I should be able to test my battery again, which if you've seen a couple of my videos, you know this old idiot has gotten stuck a couple times out there because our battery's dead. So having that battery check button is huge, right? Now we're going to replace this back in reverse order of how we took it out. Again, don't horse or force things. Just push it in until you hear that little telltale click, and you know the pieces are in there. And then it's just a matter of putting your lights back where they go, green to green, red to red. The wires should be your telltale for which light is which color. They'll go back into their appropriate spots, and then it's just a reconnect of all these wires that we unhooked, putting this back where it goes up here, and then we button everything back up and we'll be done. Alrighty. I'm going to put that accessory piece back in first. Should slide right in. Got our collar and our screws. It's not a home job unless you drop stuff. In my regular world, I am an instrumentation and controls guy, so kind of used to working with little wires and screwdrivers and electronic components. I'm also almost done with my electrical engineering degree, so this has been an awesome little side project. But just because I have that kind of experience doesn't mean that I'm more qualified to do this job than anybody else. You can do this with minimal experience as long as you respect the fact that it's electricity and it can bite you. And for those of us out there that work with electricity, we know it's not a question of if it's going to bite you, it's when. So take all the precautions you can. I'd say most accidents are avoidable if you do a little proper planning. And you are the biggest proponent for your own safety out there. So take care of yourselves, guys. All right, and then we just start attaching things back in the reverse order. We should be good to go. And yes, we're going to test all this together at the end and make sure I don't let the blue smoke out, because that's always fun. Once you let the magic blue smoke out of electronics, it's really hard to put it all back in. I mean, I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek there. If you do, it's not totally terrible. I mean, you have definitely, yes, probably fried whatever it was that you were working on, but you can always buy new parts and fix it again. Our last connection put in. And then one thing that is important to remember is this little guy right here. This is your sensor for the antenna, or I'm sorry, that is the antenna for the system. So you want to make sure that it's positioned well so that it can pick up the signal from your remote. And then we're going to pop everything back into place. Make sure it's seated well. And then with the system deployed, we can plug the electronics back in and test it and make sure it does what it's supposed to do. Hey, look at that, we got power. Now, do we have a battery test? Oh, looks like my button isn't quite seated. All right, we'll unplug again. Take a look at the old cover and see if there's something I need to steal out of that to help that test button work. I do want to look at it just on its own though, since we're not going to be unhooking any wires or anything like that. I think we're going to be okay there. All right, that's a new find. So it looks like our button has decided to fail, and I see why. Right there. Looks like we'll be getting back a hold of the guys over at trollingmotorparts.com and ordering a new battery test board and getting that hooked up. Just make sure I check my wires here. Everything looks good. Definitely did get some water in there as that cover broke, so I can see why we have an issue. Button has gone bad. Well, that's life. But as far as replacing the rear controller cover goes, that's how we get that part done. We'll button everything back up. I'll get a new one of these boards ordered and get it sent here to us. We'll re-pop this thing apart on part 2 and put in the new board, and we should be all good to go. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Unexpected things pop up. It happens. It's fixable. We'll get through it. It does make you mad, I'm not gonna lie, but at least you know it's a simple fix. That board's not too awful expensive. But now we have a good sealed cover back on the unit, and I don't have to worry about any more water getting in there and causing any more issues. So in case you guys are wondering, there's the part right there on trollingmotorparts.com. The Minn Kota Terrova battery meter control board, 12 volts, $7.95. So super cheap repair. We're gonna get that ordered and get it on the way. Add in the cart, boink. And obviously I'm not gonna let you guys see my checkout details, but I'm gonna get this ordered and get it going. Alright, and we'll just button it up, call it good. New parts are on order. I got the side plate kit, new controller, battery test assembly, and a new lanyard for that remote that we just repaired. All for 47 bucks with shipping. Should be here fairly quickly. So stick with us, guys, for part 2, and we'll get the rest of this repair done and completed and have this all buttoned up looking like $1,000,000. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate you guys. Smash that like, smash that subscribe button. Make sure you're following along for more videos. If you guys like these how-tos, let me know down in the comments. Let me know if you got any questions about stuff that you need to work on your boat or on your systems. I'll be more than happy to research it, see if we can figure out a fix for it together. Be kind, be honest, take care of each other out there, guys. Love you. We'll see you on the next one.